Hello everybody, today I have another video for you all. Hooray! And it's been a while since I've talked about Transformers on the channel, so I thought I could come back and talk about Transformers again. So I thought a good way to just start off is something small and simple with Studio Series 86 Bumblebee. So before I talk about the figure, I just want to look at the box real quick. I don't normally look at the boxes, but I thought it would be cool. Yeah, it only took us 29 installments of the 86 line to get a Bumblebee. Is that crazy? Shouldn't he have been like one of the first characters, especially because the first studio series was a Bumblebee, as well as like the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth ones? I don't know. There's like 30 Bumblebees in the studio series line. But yeah, the box is pretty simple. I do kind of like how this is a slightly newer box. They don't really do it. They don't do it the same way they used to, where for one, they remove the plastic so you can see the figure a little better, but you can also reach it. I'm not really sure how I feel about that, and I kind of prefer they still had the plastic because there was this one time where I bought a Kingdom blaster and he was actually missing one of the characters, presumably ripped out of the box by somebody, because there's a nice big opening and the little character he came with was just gone. Anyways, why don't we just open the box now? Can't forget the accessories in the back. Also, along with the packaging, every Studio Series character comes with this little cardboard display thing. I never really keep them or anything. There have been occasional times when I would keep it just like to have it, but then I would eventually decide I don't want it. The Studio Series characters always look really nice, and if you only have like one or two, it's a nice display, but when you have like half the Studio Series line, it doesn't really make sense and just takes up space. But as you can see, it has more of the information, like it says 86, 29, Studio Series. Doesn't say Bumblebee anywhere, but down here it does say Transformers the movie, which is what the 86 line is based off of. But anyways, no more of the packaging. Let's just get into the actual figure now. Here we have 86 Bumblebee, and I have to say, this is probably one of the cutest Transformer figures I've seen in a while. Before I got 86 Bumblebee, I was using the core class Kingdom Bumblebee as my stand-in for Bumblebee if I were to display figures or make videos or anything like that. And I ended up missing out on the Netflix Bumblebee, which was a pretty cool design for Bumblebee, and it's probably a more accurate version of Bumblebee. I never ended up picking that one up because I never got the chance, and also it just wasn't the coolest looking figure to me. I wasn't a big fan of the darker orange color. In my opinion, Bumblebee should be this bright, soft yellow color that he is right here. The Netflix one is a bit more of an orangey color. He's got a lot of posability. He's a very posable figure despite his small, plump body. Some of the joints are weirdly stiff and kind of don't really work well. His elbows here, they have like a little latch for vehicle mode. They kind of latch into place at like a 90-degree angle. And they're really hard to pull out. And I kind of feel it stressing on this part right here. And I'm just worried that it might break it if I'm not careful. His legs were kind of weird. When I saw his legs, they kind of weirded me out. So this is his ankle right here. So it tilts right here. And then his knee is here, like swivel here, and then his waist. Which, this means that his entire foot, this is his entire foot. That means it's longer than the rest of his leg. It's just kind of absurd. And I know proportions on some figures can be a little weird, but this is kind of absurd how, because normally it's like the lower leg is longer than the upper leg, but no, the foot is longer than the lower and upper leg combined. It's just kind of funny. Bumblebee is kind of known for having big, bulky, massive, punch buggy feet, shoes type things. It's kind of just like a main character trait of G1 Bumblebee. So this figure is a retool of the Netflix Bumblebee and the War for Cybertron Cliff Jumper. It's kind of like a mixture of those two. The kind of more boxy, cartoony aesthetic of Cliff Jumper, and then the like the Bumblebee of Netflix Bumblebee. And a problem those two figures had, they were basically the same figure, but a problem those two figures shared was that the back cover here, that forms the entire back half of the car, you had to disconnect it from the rest of it in order to transform it properly. But with this figure, they actually managed to make it attached. This can't come off. Because on the other ones, it would disconnect and then kind of clip onto the back, kind of similar to what it does here. And it did a good job at doing it, but this does a much better job at transforming properly. And a big problem that a lot of Bumblebees have is having a large backpack of just extra panels that fold away. That just seems to be a common problem among Bumblebees. It's kind of a problem among a lot of Transformers where any extra parts that can't be fit into the robot mode just get folded into the back awkwardly. And it's always never really that good looking, but with this Bumblebee, they managed to do a good job at hiding a lot of that extra kibble. And if I move the arm up, you can actually see a lot of the pieces that they folded in to the inside to make it look a little better. It has this little gun right here, just this very tiny little blaster. It's very nice and it fits him, and it can actually plug onto his back right here. It's kind of more so for vehicle mode, but if you wanted to for robot mode, you could plug it back there as well. Now onto transformation, and I'm just going to do a time lapse like I usually do. There's really no need to film the transformation. I normally don't, because if you are planning to buy this figure, there is an instruction booklet included. Speaking of which, I actually did transform this thing without using the instruction booklet, so that just kind of goes to show how much instructions or showcases of transformations are kind of useless, because I literally transformed this thing within like 5 minutes without using the instructions. So for Bumblebee's vehicle mode, he turns into this little cartoony VW Beetle. It's not an actual VW Beetle, it's not licensed or anything. One thing I really appreciate about this figure is that instead of going for an accurate VW Beetle look, they went for more of a cartoony aesthetic. Massive rear tires, tiny front tires, and the weird kind of cartoony flat, very round bonnet on the front hood. So in the cartoon, when he's in vehicle mode, he has the Autobot symbol on his hood, but in robot mode, he has the symbol on his chest, which his chest becomes the top of the car. So because of this, we end up with two Autobot symbols in very close proximity to each other, and it looks a little weird. Also, this has nothing to do with the figure, but I noticed on the box, the Autobot symbol is on this side of the car, but on here, it's on the opposite side. I don't know, that's just kind of weird, and I thought it was worth talking about. So, Bumblebee's original vehicle mode, his G1 toy, he was based off this thing called, like, Penny Racers or something, where it's this tiny little Hot Wheels-esque car. I think it was a pullback or something, and it had, like, this little flap on the back that you'd put a penny in. And since the car was so small, when you put the penny in, it would basically like pull it back whenever you let it go to go forward. So you put a penny in it, pull it back, and then the penny was so heavy that it would make like do a wheelie like that when it went off. I think I had a couple at one point when I was like really young, but I don't know what happened to any of them. That's why Bumblebee's car mode is weirdly toy-like, cartoony toy-like, compared to all the other Autobots and Decepticons that have more realistic vehicle modes, because Bumblebee was based off an actual toy and not a vehicle. Some iterations of Bumblebee where he actually turns into a real beetle, they always look odd, because you know Bumblebee for being this tiny little cute little beetle thing, and actual VW Beetles are a lot longer. They're small cars, but they're longer and bulkier than this. Like these are very squished down, cutesy proportions that he has here, and I much prefer this over the more realistic car modes. Also, one thing I have yet to mention about this figure is that like he is tiny. This figure is absolutely minuscule. I have had smaller figures, but this guy is like a very small figure. Like I could fit him in my hand. Like this guy's really small. He looks a lot bigger on camera because I'm zoomed in, but if you had this in person, you would realize how small this is. Just zooming out of the camera, just to put in perspective how small he is. Here I have a significantly larger figure. This is Legacy Menosaur. This is probably a poor choice of size comparison to show off, but this does kind of put in perspective how small he is. Um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Menosaur is so big he can't even fit on camera. Uh, yeah, Bumblebee is so small he can fit in between Menosaur's legs and still be more room for a secondary Bumblebee to stand on top of him. Taking apart Menosaur just to show a bit of a better size comparison. Here we have Motormaster right here. He was the body of Menosaur, obviously, but yeah, even with a smaller figure, it's like Bumblebee is still tiny. And yeah, even at this point, Bumblebee could still fit in between his legs. I always love the difference between large Decepticons and tiny Autobots. Like you can clearly tell which one of these guys is mean, which one of these guys is nice. Like the cute little soft proportions, gentle feel of the Autobots, and then the darker, more brooding. I mean, just look at that face. That I don't want to be on my bad side. Also, another thing I love is how Bumblebee, he has like these big little boots that are these big boots that are really goofy. And then Menosaur, he's got the entirety of a truck for a foot, just kind of putting into perspective how massive he's supposed to be. Alright, hold everything. I just discovered something interesting. I just saw this video where someone tried to put the Matrix inside Bumblebee, and apparently it works. So in the video, it said to use the one from Hot Rod, and if I take Bumblebee here, just show that there is a cavity in there that if you put the Matrix in, it does fit, and it almost curves around it almost. It just looks so interesting. There's a hair on it. And it does not click into place. Mine does not click into place. Like it's loose in there. Although if I slide it down, it does seem to wedge in. The video I saw, it clicked into place, but this one does not click into place. And also, I tried the one from Earthrise Optimus and also Kingdom Galvatron, and those ones just seem to not work as much, whether or not they're smaller molds or it's just like different. But the one from Hot Rod does seem to work. And it's kind of funny because Hot Rod does not have anywhere to put the Matrix. He just either holds it or you have to put it aside. But Bumblebee does. So yeah, Bumblebee Miss Prime, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe. And I plan to bring more Transformer-themed videos back to the channel, whether it be more reviews or more skit-type videos like the Transformers Decepticon show or something like that. And I even have a video planned. I don't have it in the works or anything, but I have a script idea for a video about Bumblebee and the Stunticons together or something like that. So if you want to see that, please, like I said, subscribe. And yeah, until next time, bye-bye.